Hello, before I get into it, I just want to say this is the last chance to join the workshop. If you're listening live, it is the 3 essential steps to support your loved one through addiction and recovery without losing yourself in the process. So this is on Thursday, June 19th at 7:30 p.m. US Eastern Time and 9:30 a.m. on Friday the 20th of June if you are in Brisbane. And all the details for every other time zone is on my website. So you can absolutely join, get the replay. If you can't make it live, just register for your spot and you can find the details in the show notes. So get your spot, listen to the replay if you can't join it live, and let's get some tools in your pocket. So today's episode is all about the question that I know you are asking your loved one. I have asked this question more times than I would care to admit. So this is the situation. You are coming home from work, you're coming home from dinner with your friends, and your loved one's at home. And you can see they have been drinking. Or you're home and they've been out maybe at work, they're coming home, or they've been out playing golf with their friends and they come home and you can see they've been drinking. You're away for a weekend together and they duck out to get some takeaways and they come back and you can see they've been drinking. You're going to want to ask them, have you been drinking? And I don't want you to. And I'm going to tell you why it is not helpful, why it causes disconnection, and why you're asking it. Okay, 100% makes sense. So you're not crazy for asking. You want to have confirmation. You want the validation. You want them to be honest that yes, they are drinking. You want them to confirm that what you're seeing is correct, because right now you're probably thinking you're 3 shades of crazy. You don't trust yourself, and the lying and the gaslighting, the manipulation is off the chart. So you just don't even know which way is north anymore. So you're not crazy for asking, and you're just desperate. Tell me the truth, right? Tell me the truth. So it's not so much about the answer. You can see the answer. It's about clarity. It's about knowing the truth. And here, it's not going to help you get anywhere. That question is almost forcing someone to lie. Okay. And if you know they have been drinking, and this is going to take all levels of honesty in yourself here, and I've done it. Okay. I've done it. So when I had known my husband was drinking, I asked him to see. I literally set a trap to see if he would tell me the truth. And of course he didn't. Of course he didn't, because he knew if he told me the truth, I would go absolutely unhinged. 100%, yelling, screaming, how could you do this? I'd break down in tears and probably, at some point I started threatening divorce left, right and center and separation. You can't live here, kick them out. What are you doing? This has to be the last time. How could you do this to me? How could you do this to yourself? You made a promise, and gosh, it goes on, right? And of course he didn't tell me the truth. If that was the response he was like 99% certain he was going to get. So it's not okay for us to trap people in a lie when we know the truth. I remember one time I asked him if he had been drinking. He was literally wearing a white t-shirt and it had red wine on it. So yeah, I knew, right? I knew he had been drinking, but I still asked him because I wanted him to tell me the truth. And that is not okay. The other reason we might not get the truth to the question that we really shouldn't ask is the shame, right? The shame of where they're at. If they are trying not to drink, or they have committed to that, or they've told people they're not drinking, or they've told you they're not drinking, and they're trying to be on that path, and they do end up having a bit of a wobble, a lapse or a relapse, there's shame. right? And they don't want to be here either. So they're in denial themselves. And if we're asking the question and we genuinely don't know the answer and we're just like, what in the goodness gracious is going on here? Have you been drinking? Because we're not sure what we're seeing, the truth isn't safe, right? Back to my earlier point of like our responses that they can expect from us when they say, yes, I have been drinking. The truth is not safe because of our past behavior. So when I talk in the coaching program, like we're rebuilding trust here on both sides. We have to respond in a way that is safe for the truth. So if you are asking the question, ask yourself this: have you made the truth safe? And I'm just going to let that sit there for a little bit. Have you shown with your behavior that the truth is safe? And there's no judgment here if you haven't, but let's change that, right? If you have been threatening divorce, if you have been threatening ending your relationship, if you have been threatening kicking someone out, they can't live here, you're going to move out, you're not going to live here, this is the last time, it's hard for someone to be honest if that's what they think is on the other side of telling the truth. Okay, the truth is not safe here. They don't feel secure in the relationship and what's going on, to be honest. That completely makes sense as well. So we've got to, if we're asking for the truth, make the truth safe. And then if we're asking for the truth, we have to be willing to hear the truth that we don't actually want to hear. Okay. And then having the plan in place about like healthy boundaries, what it means, and going from there. But it can't be divorce, you're getting kicked out, I'm leaving. That's not going to invite honesty. It's not going to invite trust. And you're asking for something, but not making it okay. And like I said, I've asked that question more times than I can count. This is like, say you have little people in your house and you go into their bedroom and there's this big black marker art on the wall. And your little person is standing there holding the black marker. You absolutely know without any doubt that that little person has got arts and crafty on the wall with the black marker. It's literally in their hand, right? Probably a bit on their face, on their body, and it's on the wall. In that moment, we're not going to ask them, hey, did you draw on the wall? Like, we know they drew on the wall. We're going to say, hey, it looks like you drew on the wall there. And then we go to whatever it means when someone has drawn on the wall, like, how are we going to make that better? And so you skip to what does it mean when we draw on the wall? What are the natural consequences for drawing on the wall? How can we move forward here? You're not asking them, did they draw on the wall? Because they're going to say no, even with the black marker in their hand, okay? It is human nature. No one wants to get in trouble. So this is what I want you to do instead of asking the crappy question, which 100% makes sense, but it's not getting you anywhere because it ends up in lies. It ends up in more distrust. It ends up in like a completely other argument that isn't even about the drinking. It's all come about lying and you're not honest with me. And then we're like, divorce, you can't live here, all that stuff. So this is one of the things that is in your control. Okay, when we think about what is going to be helpful here, what feels good is to focus on what is in your control. And what is in your control is whether you ask this question or not. And so we want to invite trust in ourselves. So rebuilding trust with yourself and then rebuilding trust in your relationship with your loved one, because it has absolutely been broken on both sides. So rebuilding trust here, we want to make the truth safe, but we also want to rebuild trust with yourself that you see what you see, you know what you know. So I want you to skip past the crappy question. Have you been drinking? And then insert whatever it is, right? Have you been gambling? Have you been using whatever it is they've been using? Skip the crappy question and know what you know. And then skip to the part that is whatever that means for you, whatever the boundary is for that behavior. Skip past the crappy question, know what you know, and then that is going to help with your connection. It's going to help with your relationship. We're going to avoid the blow up conversation, and it's going to help rebuild trust. because I know it gets to the point here that the lies become more problematic than the actual doing of the thing. And I know for me, I was almost begging, literally pleading on my knees, please just tell me the truth. I want to know the truth. I want to understand. I just want to know what's going on. And lies, 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 lies. And part of that, it's because I didn't make the truth safe. Who's going to be honest with someone who's threatening divorce? Like, where's the motivation there? Like, we can have natural consequences, absolutely. But if someone thinks the relationship is going to end or they're going to be kicked out of their home, it's not a great motivator for the truth telling. So let's not trap someone, like have them up against the wall here and they've almost got to lie to get out of the situation. Just know what you know, see what you see, and skip to whatever that means in a boundary, natural consequences, whatever it is for you. And then when the dust has settled, the next day, the day after that, let's have a better conversation with curiosity. And that is going to help your relationship immensely and help you move through that part. Trust your own knowing, rebuild that trust with yourself. And instead of asking, have you been drinking or whatever the thing is, ask yourself, what do I need right now? And then do that. Okay. Do that, because their honesty shouldn't be the thing that you're relying on to anchor yourself, to ground yourself, to know. I want you to know independently that something isn't okay and go from there. Okay. So let's pause. Let's try hard to not ask that question that's almost making someone lie. And then, the things that happen after that. And let's try and trust that we know what we know, we see what we see, and then we go from there. Okay, take care, and I will see you next time.